So we've talked a lot about the anatomy of the insula. What about the actual functions of the insula? What does the insula do? So with eye, remember, insula is really, really about kind of like your inner state, okay? So your insula, which was like this, and it had a short gyri that were like 1, 2, 3, 4 short gyri. It had one long gyri. It had a sulcus centralis insulae. It has sulcus circularis insulae, and it also had a limen coming posteriorly, and it was buried kind of like within the lateral sulcus. Okay, so the insula, with I want you to remember interoception, and I'm going to go through each of these and how the insula links to them and how the insula carries out that specific thing functionally. Now remember, the insula is covered by the operculum, and there are two parts of the operculum according to us. There's the frontoparietal operculum and there's the temporal operculum. And the frontoparietal operculum, I'm going to quickly recap. It included the pars triangularis. I don't know why I'm doing this in Latin. It included pars opercularis. It also included parts of the precentral gyrus. It also included parts of the postcentral gyrus. It also included parts of the inferior parietal lobule. Now, the temporal operculum corresponded only to the superior temporal gyrus. Okay, now if we talk about interoception, internal state, integration, sensation, social awareness, and sympathetic versus parasympathetic, the insula is kind of like that thing, that part inside of us that finds out when we are feeling cold or hungry or anxious or sad or thirsty. You know, those kind of feelings that we have in our internal state, which kind of like affect our homeostasis, even sort of something like anxiety or fear, even those things, it kind of integrates them and then tells us, lets us know, lets us know how we're feeling. So it's really, it's kind of like to do with your internal state. So your internal state, how it is, and the insula integrates that. So kind of takes all of these signals, integrates our internal state together, and lets us know how we're feeling. Okay, something like food poisoning. So there's a video that I watched, and it's about food poisoning and how that one incident of food poisoning that you can remember from 10 years ago, and you can recall everything about that one memory, about when you got sick, what you were wearing, what happened there and then. That's the magic of the insula. It really, really wants to make you survive. It wants to help your survival instinct. And it does this by telling you, especially that sort of gut to mind or brain connection. So when you did get sick, the insula kind of like took that internal state and integrated it. And this is also known as interoception. There's something called proprioception, and proprioception is that awareness of where your limbs are in a physical area, in your physical space. Interoception is your internal state and your awareness of your internal state. So it's kind of like self-awareness as well. So sensation or self-awareness. It also gives you social awareness, and it also kind of like mediates your sympathetic versus parasympathetic. Remember, sympathetic was fight or flight, and parasympathetic was rest and digest. Okay? That's kind of like the functions of the insula. It's really involved with integrating your internal state, whether that be your hunger or your gut movement, you know, those kind of things that affect your homeostasis. Something else to note about the anatomy of it, it's actually, insula is actually cerebellar cortex buried deep within this area, beneath the lateral sulcus, which is interesting because cerebellar cortex is out here, isn't it? So yeah, just something to remember.